Hello and welcome back, friends, to the Never Miss a Monday podcast. I am your host, Stacey Garcia, and this podcast space is all about starting your week and your life with intention, alignment, and momentum. As we settle into this new year, it's important to remember that energetically, we are still in the year of the snake. The snake is all about shedding old skin, deep inner wisdom, reflection, and intentional transformation. This is not rushed energy. It's slow, intuitive, and deeply clarifying. The year of the horse doesn't begin until February 17th. And the horse year is going to bring a lot of movement, momentum, courage, and forward motion. So these next several weeks in between are incredibly special. They're a sacred bridge, an opportunity to release what no longer fits in our lives. It's a great time to clarify your vision and consciously choose that you are ready to move forward before the pace really starts picking up. If you have felt called to slow down a little bit, reflect, or reassess instead of pushing forward at full speed, you're exactly where you are meant to be. I'm going to say that again. If you have felt called to slow down, reflect, or reassess instead of pushing forward at full speed, you're exactly where you are meant to be. Today's episode is about honoring this moment, using the wisdom of the snake to create clarity and prepare for all of the momentum that the horse is going to be building, including all of the rhythm, not relying on our motivation, which is huge. And I cannot wait to talk to you about all of that because real change does not happen in just one burst of inspiration. It happens through intentional choices, especially the ones that we make here every single Monday. And this is exactly why I created the Monday Momentum membership to help support you in the in between space. It's a place to slow down, check in, and build consistency through weekly guidance, reflection, and community. If you've been craving support, structure, and rhythm, you can return to each Monday. This membership was created specifically for you. And you can find how to sign up in my show notes, but it has started off with a bang, and I can't wait to have you all join. Alrighty, so let's get into today's conversation. I want to talk really quickly about why motivation fades and why that's totally normal. Okay. Motivation is emotional and it's temporary. It's not something that we have 7 days a week, 12 months out of the year. That's just not realistic. And so sometimes when January 1st hits and we're like creating our vision boards and we're journaling and this and that and the other, and then we kind of like put everything off to the side and kind of let it sit because not every day is going to be emotionally charged, right? That's a very temporary solution. We should not be really looking at motivation to keep us going every single day. We're taught to rely on willpower instead of systems, and systems are what is going to get us to where we actually want to be. If you don't have a system in place, a vision board or journaling is not going to do you any good. Intention setting is so incredibly important. But if you don't have the system to follow, if you don't have a plan, then what are you doing, right? So today we're really going to talk about that and reflect and see if we are starting to take small actionable steps every single day in order to get to where we want to be. So New Year energy that we felt last week, right, is super real and it's awesome, but it's not meant to last forever. That's where we really start relying on our systems. When motivation fades, most of us assume that we failed in some way, and that's not true. So that's where last week we were talking about resolutions. Motivation fading is not a reason to quit. And it's not a sign to quit. It's an invitation to start creating structure and support. So that's where you want to really check in with yourself and see if you have a structure. If you don't, writing some kind of calendar system is so incredibly important. I have family calendars, I have individual calendars. I am really on top of my schedule because it's an act of self-love. I know what works for me, and I know that I will perform at higher levels. I will be happier, I will be healthier if I do X, Y, and Z every single day. And so when you start thinking about structure, really think about it as a way to give yourself some self care and some self love. And support is so incredibly important. We're never doing all of this alone, guys. Just make sure that you hang out with some friends that are doing the same things that you are doing, that you are wanting to do, right? So I'm sure you've heard, if you want to be X, you need to hang around X, right? So if you want to be highly successful in something, surround yourself by successful people and you will become the next successful person. So making sure that you're hanging around like-minded individuals that are really there to help support you and get you to that next level of where you want to be is so incredibly important. So incredibly important. Okay. So let's talk very briefly about the problem with vision boards alone. Not vision boards, but vision boards alone. And you know I love a good vision board. I do them every single year, okay? Vision boards can be incredibly powerful, but they're incomplete if you leave it just at the vision board. They focus on what we want, not how we are living every single day, not those small actionable steps. So without habits and rhythms, visions stay aspirational. Visions without action can actually create frustration, and that's not what we're looking for. So, if you've made that vision board and kind of stop there, totally fine. Let's just reflect for a second and ask ourselves, does my daily life reflect what's on my vision board? And if it does not, think about one actionable step that you can take today to get you where you want to be later on in this year. Okay, so if you really, really want to focus on your health, and you haven't taken any actionable steps, start off with like one plant-powered meal every single day. Okay, just getting going and putting it into your schedule is so incredibly important. Okay, so I'm not saying that vision boards are not something exciting and actionable to do in the new year. I am all about it, but you need to go on further after you complete that vision board. Okay. Now we're going to talk about rhythm versus motivation. Rhythm is consistency and compassion. Rhythm helps support you on low energy days. Okay. So today was a low energy day. I had a lot of challenges that started very early on in my day. And I'm going to be super blunt here when I tell you, thank God that all of these practices, these non negotiables that I talk about all the time, are so ingrained into my day. Because when life hands lemons, you keep on walking through it. Does it stir you up for a second? Does it frustrate you? Oh my goodness, of course, you're human. However, it will help you work through these problems a whole lot better. It's just like when I was diagnosed with breast cancer and the doctor's like, Stacey, you have no idea how lucky you are that you have all of these systems in place. And it's so true. And now it's helping me through other challenges in my life. Okay. So I went immediately on my scheduled walk. I did not stop that. I knew that I needed to be in nature today. That was a very huge non-negotiable for me. And it always helps ground me. It helps center me. It helps to clear my mind. And it has to happen. It's a non-negotiable, period, end of story. And then I get exercise along the way with that. And meditation Thank God for meditation, another way to help clear your mind and stay centered on your goals and what you want. And eating healthily, I turn to blueberries a lot when I need some extra brain power. Like I know what works for me, so I make that smoothie and it gives me sustained energy. Growth mindset. I am starting to listen to audiobooks right now so quickly. I already finished one the first week of the new year, and I'm just like eating it up, if you will, right now. So growing your mind is so incredibly important. The list goes on and on. Self-care. I had therapy today. I took a nice warm shower before. Sometimes it's those little things that really add up. Okay. So rhythm supports you on those days that you need it the most. For me, for this week, that was today. Motivation asks you, do I feel like it? Rhythm asks you, what's one aligned step that you could take today? Okay, so if we're waiting for motivation to hit the gym to work out, that's not going to keep us consistent. It's when you get there on the days that you really don't want to. Okay, I'm not saying don't listen to your body on days when you feel like you really need rest. I'm talking about when it comes to pushing through the ick. And sometimes you just don't feel like doing it. And let me tell you, when you're done, you're going to be like, thank God I just pushed through that day. So, some examples to kind of help us more with the rhythm as opposed to the motivation would be if you were supposed to work out and take a 45-minute class and it's just not happening for you today, get outside and go for a walk. Don't just throw the towel in, just pivot a little and get something else in. Okay, having one mindful meal, like I said, instead of a perfect day of eating, just focusing on one really healthy meal, or setting one intentional boundary instead of a full life overhaul, which we tend to do at the beginning of the year. We're going to change too many things at once. We get overwhelmed. It's not sustainable. And then we quit and then we feel terrible about ourselves. Like that is not what we're looking for. So, setting small actionable steps every single day and habit building, which is taking one habit one day and then adding something else on and slowly getting to what your vision board looks like. We want to live our vision in order for those visions to come to fruition. Okie dokie. So next we're going to move on to why Mondays matter so much. Okay. Mondays are energetic reset points. It's why I love a Monday. And I so believe that how you start your week shapes your nervous system. That's why I always tell everyone, get that workout in, get that meditation in, get that book in, or that podcast that really gets you thinking. Get it all in on Mondays. That is going to help reset your nervous system. It can be a way for you to check in with your body, not catch up, but just check in with your body. So, a couple of reset questions that you can ask yourself right now is, how do I want to feel this week? Because how you want to feel is what is going to get you where you need to be. I know I feel amazing after I walk in nature. I know I feel amazing after I meditate. I know I feel amazing after an Epsom salt bath at the very end of the day. I do things that make me feel amazing. So, how do you want to feel this week? Choose one focus, one boundary, and one supportive action to help get you there. Okie dokie. Now we're going to move on to building momentum without burning out. All right. So momentum is built through trust with yourself. We all were born with intuition, with trusting ourselves. It's something that unfortunately we were taught, usually at a very young age, to listen to the grown up and the superior. And it was something that we learned and it became ingrained in us to not always listen to ourselves, but to listen to someone else. So we kind of have to reparent ourselves as we get older and really learn how to trust that what we want and need is what's best for ourselves. And I think a lot of that can come through sitting in silence, kind of checking out from your devices, just being. That's why meditation is so incredibly important to me, is that I meet with myself. I have no one else there talking to me, and it gives me a moment to really help build that trust within myself. And remember that perfection does not build momentum, it breaks it. So, consistency is what we're looking at. Consistency trumps perfection every single time. Becoming consistent with your routine is what is going to get you there. It takes everyone a different amount of time to build a habit. I would say start at least at 1 month. 1 month of doing the same thing every single day and really focusing on how you feel afterwards. That is what is going to help you build those habits, how you feel and the consistency of it. It's so incredibly important to be consistent with your wants and your needs. You don't need more discipline in life, you need more support. So, again, find those supportive friends and family and community members. That is what is going to help you so incredibly much. Sorry if you can hear my dogs. They're going off right now. I think they totally agree with the fact that we all need more support in our lives. And progress looks like returning, not pushing. So, before we close, let's all take a deep breath together and ask ourselves, what kind of rhythm would support me right now? What is one small choice I can commit to this week? You don't need to restart the year. You just need to keep showing up for yourself. Thank you so incredibly much for spending this Monday and all Mondays with me. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to share it with someone who could use a gentle reminder that they are not behind, they are right where they need to be. Please leave a review and tag me so I know that you're listening. Let's start this conversation together. And please remember, never miss a Monday, because how you start your week shapes how you live your life. Sending you all my love.